All right, so in this video we're just going to add a random wonder to this thing right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new child. I'm just going to say random wonder. And under, I don't remember even adding this. I guess I did. I guess we set this up at some point. Anyway, so if you do have this, then congratulations, you don't have to make it. If not, then yeah. So what we can do though is we can actually change this to AI controller. And then just plug this directly into here. We don't need to cast that anymore. And you have this other stuff too, like your acceptance radius. You can set an acceptance radius of like 5. If you don't set an acceptance radius, it's going to try to go exactly to that point. If the object is big, then you might need to set a bigger acceptance radius, depending on the radius of the object itself. And so you can even get let's see, you can get actor bounds, and you can split this right here, and you could technically do something like that. So just saying, but this won't be accurate if it's not perfectly square around, then that's not going to work. You're going to have to do it off of this or this. You could do a select, and you could do something like if this is greater than y, select x, otherwise select y. You could do something like that. I mean, it's totally up to you. I'm not going to do that though. I'm just giving you guys ideas, but I'll just set this to 5, not -5, but 5. And you have this other stuff here too, but we don't need to mess with that. So over here on our state, we're just going to add a task, and it's going to be the AI action MoveTo. That's the one we were just looking at. So if this doesn't receive an actor, then it will move to the destination. And since the destination is 0, 0, 0, that will be in world coordinates. That means they'll move to the world origin. So we actually want to get a random point somewhere within the range. And so that's what we'll do. We'll create a task for that. State tree task. And we'll just call it get random location and range. And let's see, I'm just going to copy this one. I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to call it get random location and range. And then I'm going to have an enter state here. And again, we need a actor. We're just going to take the AI controller. You can get the actor or the AI controller. I'm not really sure it matters, but we just need the location of the AI of something, basically. So this is going to be a actor, not a vector. And it's going, oh no, it's going to be an AI controller. and this is going to be context. And I should warn you that on your, if this does not work, you need to make sure that that your use object has a finish task on it, or else when they use this object, they will never exit this state. So right here we have the lock AI logic checked, and I'm not exactly sure what that entails, but it's probably important. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, probably just leave that checked just to be safe. So what we really need to do is just get a get random location and range. Let's see. In range. Let's see here. Get random location and navigable radius. That's what I was looking for. And so the origin is just going to be the actor location. And really, you don't have to make this an AI controller. You know what? Let's just make this an actor. That way we can use it for multiple things. We don't have to, that way it doesn't have to be a character controlled or a pawn controlled by a controller. It can be any actor. And so we'll just change that over to actor. And we'll just promote this to a variable. And we'll expose it. And I'll set the radius to 500. I guess we could set it to 1500. That's probably good. You don't really need nav data, so I'm assuming that there are cases where you might have more than one nav data, and so you need to feed it a specific nav data. Here's a filter class. You can filter it. I'm not going to go into all that in this video, mostly because I'm not really that familiar with it. So just going to be honest with you. So this is our random location, and I accidentally moved that. And we're just going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to make that an output. I'm assuming the output category will probably be important later on. As for now, as far as I can tell, it really doesn't serve much of a purpose. So you can also do like we did before, should finish, or should finish task or whatever, and make it a boolean. That way you have control over whether it should execute a finish task or not. And obviously if this failed to find a location, then we want it to fail the state. We want the entire state to fail. And that's pretty much it for that. So we do need, okay, we already did that. So back over here, I'm going to add another task. I want to drag that up to the top. And yeah, there we go. This, I think, might actually be a built-in one. Yeah. So this is actually, I think, a built-in one. This was the one that we made ourselves. The move to actor or location. That's that one. So I'm actually using their new built-in one. Okay. Well, I mean, that's cool. We can do that. So let's just bind this to that random location. And yeah, the acceptance radius by default is 5. That's normally the case. Destination move tolerance. If the task is expected to react to change or to location and input, this property can be used to tweak sensitivity of the mechanism. Value is recommended to be less than the acceptance radius. Interesting. Okay. And you can write track moving goal. We are not tracking a moving goal, so we don't need that to be enabled. So this right here is for if you're tracking a moving goal. And this allows you to adjust the tolerance of that. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, so we need to transition out of this state. And so on succeeded, we could make this random. And I'll just say 0.5. That means 50% of the time this will be true, and it will execute to the next state, which is the look for smart object. You could also do next selectable state. If you have multiple here and there's a chance that the next state won't be selectable, then you would want that to be next selectable. So that's what that means, guys. I have not covered that in the past, but if, for example, if you have two states here, and let's say this one fails, then it'll get stuck because it won't be able to transition. And so you would want it to be next selectable so that if it fails to transition here, it'll try to transition here. Just letting you know. So in this case, we only need it to be next state, and it's going to be random. And then we'll have another on state completed. We'll just go back to the root. And so whenever this completes successfully, it goes back to the root. And when this fails for some reason, it'll go back to itself. No, I don't want that actually. I don't know why I did that. So we'll just delete that. So either way, whenever this completes, it will return to the root. Since we were debugging it, that was kind of necessary so that we would at least have some kind of hint. I mean, if you wanted, you could do a on state failed, tree failed, but I won't do that because sometimes this is going to fail, and that doesn't mean that it's not necessarily a bad thing. So let's create another delay node. We'll duplicate this and we'll add it right here. Or you could just delete that one or move that one up here. It's up to you. I'm just going to do it that way. And since our next transition is just going to the next state, that's fine. And so they should start off randomly roaming around, but you'll have to wait a second. So they'll randomly roam around, and so he just claimed that smart object handle, but he's not actually going to it. So something may have broke for some reason. Okay, he just tried to use that one. Okay, so there seems to be a problem. They're choosing them, but they're not actually going to them. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so that was partially my fault, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did to mess it up. So on this MoveTo actor or location state tree task, I had forgotten we're using it over here, and this one is just passing in the actor, not the AI controller, and therefore it needs it needs us to pass this in as an actor, and then we need to get the AI controller off of it. So you need to set that back to actor. Sorry about that. We're not actually using that one on this one anyways. We're using the AI one right here, and it's automatically set up to use that. And so we're just getting that random location. Now, this does work with the use smart object, but it seems to be fairly buggy. So we can approach this two different ways. One, we could just move this use smart object over here and plug this in here instead of this. And then you wouldn't need a blueprint interface, but you would still need to do an isValid check. That's just a safety precaution. So you could do it like that, or I think this other way will work too. We're about to find out. I don't know for sure. And I'm going to duplicate this and duplicate this. And I think that it might be a timing issue, which is really weird. I don't know why it would be. So I'm just going to make it wait a quarter of a second with no deviation. And I want this to go to the next state right here. And then right here, we're just going to leave that going to the root. We're going to disable this one, and we're going to leave this one enabled for now. And we want this task to finish. So remember we set that up. So in order for that to work at all, we need to hook this back up. Otherwise, it will never exit that state. So with everything hooked back up the way it was, we'll see if this works. If not, then you'll just have to, you won't be able to make those more modular. Now, they did do that in the GDC video, but for some reason it doesn't really seem to work very well in here. And I think that might be some kind of bug. I can't be for sure. But it looks like this one's suffering from the same issues before. So what's happening is they're claiming these slots, but for whatever reason, they can't use them. I don't know why. But if we come back over here, it looks like they're not actually finishing this state. Okay, maybe that's why. So we'll do that. And then try that. I do have that enabled, so it should be finishing them. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Okay, so it looks like it's working now. So that's two different ways you can do that. So, okay, and that one worked too. Okay. So there's two different ways you can do that. Either you can leave it like it is right now, and you can split those up into two different tasks, and you can call this one use smart object. And I'll just remove this one. And in fact, I'm probably just going to keep this one like this. But I mean, maybe that doesn't really make much sense to you. And I guess it really kind of doesn't. So maybe if you don't have any real reason to split it up like that to make it modular, then you should probably just do it like this. So you know what? I would suggest just doing it like this, because in actuality, I don't really see any reason for us to have this on a separate task. So we'll just do that, and I'll rename this query and use smart object. And use. And so if you did that, then you no longer need that blueprint interface stuff. So you can just remove that. I'll just keep this stuff down here in mind for now. So that's the way we'll do it. And I'll just delete that. And it's not going to rename this, but you can rename it yourself. And we can set the, well, we're not actually using this anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that, but I'll leave the rest of that down there. So now you just have that and your filter. So that should work. We're going to remove this transition rule so that it just transitions back to the root. And that should still work. So as you can see, there are some gotchas, I guess you would call them, associated with the state tree system. And you'll see it just so happened that he randomly chose that one right there, probably because it was closer to him than the other ones. Yeah. So you'll see now they're going into their talking state. All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I will see you in the next video. I mean, we'll continue this series and we'll do a few other things as well before I wrap up the series. But if you guys have any questions or suggestions, or if there's something specific that you want me to show or that you're confused about, let me know and I'll try to cover that. I'll see you in the next video.